Welcome to the Senior View. And today we are so fortunate. We have two people as our guests today who serve our town, the population, and we have a big population now, and the services at the town hall. I call them the town hall team. I'd like to introduce to you Connor Dagan, our town clerk, and Stuart Carter, our administrative assistant.
Hi.
Yes, and you two are just wonderful. I'll tell you, people feel so confident and good in walking into the town hall when they need questions answered, because both of these dear men are just so patient and kind, and they do research for you if you need it. They help you with applications and make good suggestions. I think of registering to vote if you're new in town, right? Filling out the town census, registering your dog. And they will give you suggestions for local help and information and guide you. It's a safe place to share concerns and to ask questions. The town hall is just wonderful. The whole team there at the town hall is great, I'll tell you. But these two are very, very special. So, Connor, why don't we start with you? And what would you like? What is our population?
So our population right now, it was, I know we've been looking into it, and in 2010 the census came out that we were at 14,925, and that was what they reported in 2011. But now we are, based on local census, probably over 17,600. We're probably closer to 17,700 at this point. And especially with all the new development over in the eastern part of town, we're going to see that number keep going up.
We're going to be a small city very soon.
Or an extremely large town.
Yes, 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 yes. And how do you help? What are some of the most common questions when people come in and talk with you and ask for help?
So I like to say there's no common question that I get necessarily, because I have people who come to talk to me about anything. A lot of people know, and not everyone does, but because I'm elected and the only elected official that works 40 hours a week in town hall, that I'm the representative of the people in there. And I am glad to have people come and talk to me about any range of concerns, or when they're looking for any kind of service, so that I can help connect them or help speak on their behalf when I can and get their concerns to the parties that need to hear them. So I hear concerns of, people might just be asking about something going on with town meeting, or asking about dog licensing. But conversely, I might also have someone come in and ask for how they can get services for counseling or something like that, where it's more sensitive, and trying to help them get connected with both our own youth and family services in town, services the senior center offers, as well as even Project Just Because and other things that are in town to help people.
Wonderful, wonderful. And the tax credit program. Would you like to talk about that, Stuart?
Yeah. We have a program where seniors, you have to be over 60, can work in the town. It's actually a volunteer program, so it's technically you're not an employee. And you can earn a credit of up to $1,500 off of your taxes. So it pays at the minimum wage rate, that credit towards the taxes. And it runs from October 1st through September 30th each year. And then whatever money you've accrued in that period then comes off of the next fiscal year's tax bill. In the third and fourth quarter, which would be February and May, it gets split 50-50 between those two quarters. It's a very simple program. There's not very much to it. You have to do a query, of course, because you may be working in an area that's sensitive, has sensitive information. And you could maybe work in the Treasurer's office, taking payments at the counter. You might be asked to collate documents, stuff envelopes. You might want to work at the senior center. You might work in the gift shop, or you could possibly help as a server in the cafeteria, or work in the kitchen. And there are other places you could work. The library has some people. And you may work in more than one place. It is not difficult work. We don't expect a lot from people. And it really is there mostly just to help people out. You know, it's a benefit for everybody because there's lots of little jobs that could be done that we would actually have to do ourselves, and we have other things we can then do while the seniors are helping. We have a senior in the office today helping us in taking the tax payments because the taxes are due now for November 1st, so we get very, very busy. And then also if someone's out sick or has a day off, we may be short-staffed, and then that person can help fill in, can answer the phone, things like that.
And also at the schools. Do you have people working at the schools?
That I don't know.
Okay.
The only part I do of the senior workup is I send out the paperwork for the people to fill out.
Okay.
And then at the end of the year, I collate everything that they've done and credit the tax bills. I don't keep track of the hours or which department people work in.
Okay. So if a person is interested in signing up for this tax credit program, how do they get started? Do they come and see you?
They probably should come and see me first, or call me, or send me a note, email, or whatever, and ask me for an application. And so then they fill that application, and they have to fill in the W-4, even though we're not taking out taxes. They do have to pay a very small amount of money for Medicare, Medicaid. And then they would give that to HR, which is in the town hall, and then it would go from there. The senior centre handles a lot of the administration. The filling, the hours that they've worked, they would give those to the person at the senior centre, and they would add them to the spreadsheet that I maintain.
I know it's just wonderful that the team at the senior center, for all those of us who are on the tax credit program, because we bring in, we're filling empty places, and because we have so many wonderful volunteers at the senior center, and I'm sure the schools do too. The schools, maybe in the cafeteria or washing dishes, who knows?
And one of the things that's great about the program, I've had this conversation with other people in town hall as well, that without this program, without people who were both gaining from this program but also helping to serve their town, we would be forced to make massive amounts of hires to make up the space of all the work that folks are willing to help us with. It saves the town money. It helps people get money off of their own tax bills. It's really just all around a great program for the town.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
It also allows people that might otherwise be at home and maybe not interacting so much with the community to get out and meet people.
Right. That's right.
We have one lady, for example, who pretty much knows everybody in town who works in our office, and it's great to see the interaction. I mean, everybody that comes in says hello to her, and it's splendid.
Retirement isn't easy.
Right.
Yep. And you have a lot of empty holes you want to fill. And so what better way could there be to get out every morning and a couple of times a week and signing up for something within our community?
That program has also been expanded now. There's a thing called the BRAVE Act, which is fairly new, and it allows veterans to also volunteer their time and also be paid at the same rate, and for the same amount of hours they can also earn $1,500 a year.
Wonderful.
And I mean, some veterans have disability and it's difficult for them.
Yes.
But it's open to all veterans.
Yes.
And especially with a lot of it being office work as well, it's easy that if there is something like that accommodations need to be made, then it can be easily made for anyone to help us with any task. And we always like to fit a task to an individual, because when you get to know someone, you figure out, okay, they are good at something, they like doing this. They don't like doing this as much. We're not going to make them do that when they come in. We're going to have someone else work on that. And it helps to be able to make sure that when they're coming in, they're feeling like they're actually getting some use out of the time too, and they're feeling like maybe they just want to be able to feel productive. They want to get out of the house, and it's I think it's all around really a great program, and it's great to be able to see that some people who I think are worried that they might not be able to do it find out pretty quickly that it's really very easy and will accommodate whatever they need to make sure that they feel like they're doing what they need to do too.
Now, what other offices are at the town hall? I know Human Resources. Are they up there with you now?
Yep.
Yes. They do wonderful work.
Yes.
Oh.
And then we have obviously our whole finance team right there on the first floor with me. And then when you go upstairs, you have the town manager's office, the select board. We have our accountants sitting there as well, and youth and family services is also on the second floor. And then on the third floor, we have the Board of Health, as well as our land use department, which they have building, zoning, planning. It covers kind of all the bases there. And so we have all those departments right there in Town Hall. And, you know, it helps for people to have that kind of one-stop shop for a lot of those different things.
Yes, yes. Now, the Board of Health, you know, what do they do?
They have actually an extremely wide range of things that they do. And I get to learn new things about it every day, I feel like.
Do they do flu shots?
They actually, yes. So,
Really?
yes, they
At
do.
the town hall?
Not usually at the town hall. They usually have a bigger place they pick for it. This week, actually, the health department was doing 2 flu clinics, one on Monday and then one more on Friday. And so it's no charge. You come in with an insurance card, Medicare card, whatever. You fill out a quick application, you get a shot, you're in and out. And I went and got mine on Monday, and it was over at the senior center for that one. And then the Friday one's at St. John's.
I see, I see. You people must be so busy with the town getting bigger and bigger. And
Definitely keeps us out of trouble, that's for sure.
that's good. And what are the biggest areas that are changing, do you think? Besides the population.
Well, the population changing brings a lot of changes as well, because we also have a lot of demographic changes and things like that. The fact that we have so much more people means that we just have a larger quantity of work that's coming in.
Yes, more needs to be met.
Exactly.
I mean, look at the schools, because, you know, I mean, look at all our new neighborhoods growing and growing.
Yeah, and all that extra work with all these growing neighborhoods, this new growth, this building, that means that our folks up on the top floor there and the land use department are inundated with all these building permits and you know, working with subdivisions and all of that. And then meanwhile, downstairs with the rest of us, we have far more tax bills, I'm sure, over with you, where it's a lot more administration around that. And for us, administering a much larger voting population has become more and more challenging. With one of the things that we're looking into now is that after the 2020 census, we may have to add a precinct to the town if we come up over a certain number.
I
And at the very
understand.
least, we're going to have to redraw the precincts to see, you know, make sure the populations are equally represented.
And do you see an increase in the need of more police or more firemen?
There's definitely an increase for need of public safety, and fortunately, we've been very lucky with both of our chiefs who
yes.
they have put so much effort into ensuring that Hopkinton is ready for any kind of situation that could come its way. The fire department has added new staff and gotten new equipment to ensure that they can adequately respond to the growing size of the town and the range of where they need to go to calls. The police department has been adding new people and looking to add more as they go on. It's been really great to see how much work and forethought they're putting in to making sure the town is ready as the population just continues to grow.
Oh, yes, yes. And thankfully, too, I mean, look at our new public library.
Yeah.
And look at the programs they have there, which serve the community. Thankfully. There are
yes.
so many wonderful programs for children, for students. You know, when I was growing up, we played outside after school, you know. I didn't have to go to the public library, you know, but oh, how wonderful the programs they have.
Well, and it's great because it's just continuing to foster that interest in learning and knowledge as well outside of school.
That's right.
I mean, I think that you learn a lot in school, but the things that you're driven to go and find out more about in your free time, that's the stuff that you're really learning from as well.
Yes, yes. And look at the programs at the library, another one called the Memory Cafe.
Yep.
You've heard of that,
I
I'm
have.
sure. And isn't it wonderful that there's a safe place for somebody who has dementia to go with a caregiver, you know, and what they do to enjoy themselves and to get out with people. That's what's wonderful in this busy world, that the different options that our community people have. not just the senior center, but at the schools. Look at the programs. Look at the public library. Wow, you know.
And I've been fortunate enough to be able to volunteer with the Memory Cafe, and I was helping Pat with some of her early work with it.
Yes, yes.
And I'd say as well, it's really fulfilling to go and help out and just volunteer your time there as well.
Yes, yes.
And if you have, some patience and you're willing to just spend a little bit of time in the afternoon.
That's right.
Just chatting with people and doing some activities, that's really all it is. It's chatting, listening, and
that's right.
kind of enjoying the afternoon together.
Serving and helping somebody means so much to you personally. You feel worthwhile. You feel by taking care of somebody in your community, by doing something like that. When you're retired, all of a sudden, oh my word, what am I going to do with all this time? And you can isolate and go down and get depressed. It's good to get up and do something. It really is.
Well, there's a lot of people who've started volunteering for groups like that, maybe they had a loved one who was affected by some form of dementia or Alzheimer's. And because they know what that's like, they know how much of a relief it is for both the quality of life of the person who's trying to deal with that issue in their life, as well as the caregiver to have that afternoon to go and be social, because it's so hard to have a social situation when you're dealing with that kind of ailment.
Yes. And, human resources, what they do with young people today, because I think it's a very hard world for young people today.
Yeah.
Very hard world. And how fortunate our students are to have a safe place to go and talk, because I'm sure, they can help them that way. That's for sure. That's wonderful.
And the librarians very much become confidants for the students as well that go there.
Yes.
It's great to see, because of the fact that you have these folks who are working at the library who are very much part of the fabric of our community. And they are acting as I said, a confidant and often a resource for a lot of the young people who are in the community.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell me something. What is the history of the town hall building itself?
So
I know you're young.
It's a lot older than I'm pretty sure anyone in this in the building right now.
Yes.
But it was actually our third building that was used as a town hall. A lot of people don't even think about that. The history of the town for a good period of time was actually industrial. And we had a lot of factories dotting the area, especially in the downtown area.
And down in Woodville.
Yeah,
also.
exactly, around Whitehall.
Yes.
We had a lot of mills around Whitehall.
Yes, yes.
And we had a lot of factories, including especially boot factories that were in the downtown area. And the issue that arose a couple times were fires, and very devastating fires.
Yes, yes.
And so actually it was right around the time that they were planning to potentially build a new town hall that would be just a town hall. Most of the other ones, they had shared purpose and use. And they were going to build this one, and when they were preparing to do it, that's actually when a fire broke out in the downtown and destroyed the old town hall, and they kind of had to then push they had to rush building the new one. And they had the forethought to build this one out of brick instead of wood to avoid another fire. But then not long after opening in 1902, that it was only in 1919 that the last of the factories shut down. So it really didn't have much longer they had to worry about that same risk. But can't plan for everything. And hence we dealt with that flood in 2017 from within, and built it out of brick. No more fire worries. Now water is the problem.
Oh, my word. Gail Clifford, who is a member of the Historical Society, she did many shows, about 3 or 4 shows, on the history of Hopkinton. And she's going to do Woodville for me.
Oh, that's great.
Next spring we'll be talking about Woodville, because it's a very interesting history.
Yeah.
And when the immigrants came over, that's where they went.
Yep.
And that's what started the town. And, the town hall common, oh, I'm telling you. And what she said, the horses and wagons coming up the 135, and Western Nurseries wasn't there at that time. But, you know, and they would stop and drink water out of that,
Yeah.
water holder now at the fountain.
Yep.
Can you believe that? That was the original place where they stopped to drink water. My word. And but it's a beautiful town. It really is. What do you like most about our town?
That's a pretty hard one to put on. But for me, I've always loved the character of the town more than anything else, and I felt that I've noticed even as much as we've grown, it feels like a small town still. The relationships that you build in town, the people you get to know, you build a community. There's a relationship of neighbors, not just people who happen to live within the borders of that are drawn by someone else. It's a real community. It's tight knit, and there's people who want to continue that idea and want to keep building that. And that was always something that was really, when I was growing up in town, was something that was really nice to have. To be able to have neighbors who you knew you could lean on if you needed to, and you know,
And
people
that
you could
still
run over. And
exists.
exactly.
It still exists.
And that's the thing is, but it's been decreasing in a lot of communities that have grown, and so a lot of people don't believe me when I say that Hopkinton still has a small town feel.
Yes.
And they're like, but you guys
Yes.
have grown by like over 3,000 people in the past few years, and like, yeah, but it's the people who live here still want to feel that. They come here because they want that.
I would comment that where I'm from, when I was growing up, I actually knew everybody that lived on our street and the next street over and the next street over, and all the kids played together. And I live in Worcester now, and I don't even know who my neighbors in the apartment building are. So that is one thing about Hopkinton, is there is a lot of people here and a lot of families that have been here for a very long time, and it is quite close-knit, and it is like a small town still, even though it's growing so much.
I think there's a lot of good spirit, like
Yeah.
with the women's club. You know, I mean, I can't believe what they do for this town, for people
Yeah.
and in groups. And
Well, it's all very welcoming. There's a lot of groups that do a lot of work in town,
yes.
and they're always willing to welcome new people who want to find something to do. And so that gives a chance for someone who, and I've met plenty who've never experienced the kind of small town culture before, to have a chance to see it firsthand, because they're just being openly invited and welcomed into the community.
Oh, I hope we keep it.
I hope so too.
That spirit.
Could I just move the conversation just a little bit?
You go right
You're
ahead.
talking about people that have lived here a long time. And as the town is growing, many seniors here are having difficulty with their tax bills. Taxes are going up if you're on a fixed income. The tendency is for the income not to go up as fast as property taxes have gone up, and other bills. And so you asked at the very beginning of this interview, what's one of the most frequent questions? Well, what I get asked a lot is by people that are having problems with their taxes, and they want to know if there's anything we can do to help them. Now, sometimes there isn't, but very often there are programs that they would have fitted into, and they have no idea about them. So I wouldn't want to give a list of and give all the specifics of programs now, because it's a little complicated. But there are programs for seniors, there are programs for low-income people, there is a committee that meets that gives out money every year. People donate money. It's called the Tax Relief Committee. All of these programs are available, and I say to people, if you don't apply, you definitely won't get it. So apply. If you don't think you're eligible, apply anyway. But the thing is, come into the town hall or call me, and I will talk to you and explain everything to you. And for people that are unable to come into the town hall, there are some people, like I had one lady that was in a wheelchair, she couldn't get out of the house. Very elderly people that really can't drive and don't have anybody to bring them anywhere. I will go to their house and help them.
Oh, Stuart. Oh, nice.
And if you can't fill out the applications, and most of these applications only take a couple of minutes, they're not difficult, I will help fill them out for you. I have to have you sign it, but I can pretty much show you what to put on them. So there's really no reason not to do it. And I know it can be daunting for some people. It really can be. But there's no need for it. Just call me. I don't bite. I will help. Okay?
Thank you so much, so much. You know, because changes, as we age, changes happen so fast. You lose a spouse,
Yep.
you know, and all of a sudden, you know, there's a lot of different stresses and what do I do, what don't I do? And I'm so thankful for both of you being there, that a person can go and talk to you.
The loss of a spouse seems to be one of the biggest factors that causes the problem.
Yes.
Because you've gone from those two incomes and you might have been coping, maybe not that well, but you were coping, and all of a sudden there's only one income. And at that point, that's when you need my help.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
please, anybody out there that thinks they need help, come and see me.
Okay.
The worst that can happen is you find that maybe you're not eligible for everything, but you might find something. So it really
That's
is worth
right.
it.
That's right.
Yep.
I want to thank you both for coming today. It is so special. You're just so wonderful.
Well, just thank you so much for
Thank you.
having
Yeah,
us,
thank
giving
you for having
us,
us.
giving the opportunity for us to come and talk about some of the things that we can,
That's right.
we can do to help.
We're going to have you back, okay?
All righty.
Okay?
Thank
we
you.
will. Okay, I want to thank you for watching, and you have a good night.
Did you know there are other ways to reduce your pain besides taking medications? For example, mindfulness. I'm Dr. Mike Guidi, a family medicine doctor based in Essex County. I use mindfulness techniques with my own patients during office visits, and I'm here to tell you how you can prevent addiction. It is a way to train your brain to manage pain. Reducing your pain through mindfulness could mean you need less medication or a safer type of medication. It can also help you reduce your stress and recover from past trauma. That means you become less likely to develop an addiction, whether opioids, alcohol, or any other substance. In brain research, we scan people's brains before they start practicing mindfulness, and after they've been practicing it daily for 8 weeks. We see actual changes in the way their brains are wired. We see those people drawing more on their judgment and reasoning skills, resulting in safer behaviors. Massachusetts has great resources about effective mindfulness techniques. To find out more, go to massmed.org.